Hello? It took a while for us to come on.
It's an intro.
Oh, not that part of it. The music or whatever, that boop, 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 had stopped, and it felt like,
Are you making fun of the intro music now?
no, I guess not. I
Oh,
mean, it's what got us this far,
no,
right?
that's all right. Don't worry about it. I'll change it. I'll change what Todd wants. Todd gets.
Interesting. Had an interesting conversation yesterday with Precinct 2 counselor.
All right. Let's wait a minute or two,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we always do, to let people. That's a nice tease.
Yeah, we'll just throw it out there.
What's the weather up there today?
Not warm,
Oh,
but sunny. It's in the low 60s, probably a little cooler now because the sun's going down and I'm not outside.
right. We had a regular day. It was actually 1 degree warmer than it was. I don't know. They were saying 86 degrees today. So, where it's normally 87 this time of year. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Patriots.
Why I'm on the long sleeve shirt.
Oh my God, I'm gonna kill him. Patriots are on in October, so that's a hot month for you, or humid, I should say, right? That's
that's the end of it. October is the end of it.
Yeah.
That's the tail
Hopefully
end.
we'll get lucky. Hopefully.
I always I say October is a hit or miss month. I've been out in Halloweens with my kids when they were younger, and it was nice and nice weather. And I've been out when you might as well just be August.
Yeah,
so, yeah. It's October is it's a 50-50, the 50-50 month.
Well, the first time I experienced like the hot months in Florida, I was ill prepared. We were tossing a coin to see who was going to go out in the car and start get the air on. Yeah, it was bad.
It's not like you're walking on the sun. Jeez, you Northerners.
That's not like the sun?
No.
Oh,
no.
Damn, it must be really hot in the sun.
What's up for the Memorial Day weekend? Any plans?
Nah, we're kind of lame in that way because we enjoy avoiding all the traffic and just being home,
Well, I mean, is the traffic any different on Memorial Day than it is on a random Wednesday up there anymore?
Well, I mean the differences are becoming difficult to discern. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Either way, yeah, I think we like to barbecue at home and do try to get the yard looking even better.
Get your flag out.
Always have a flag out.
All right.
Always.
We're going.
Veterans.
We're heading up to on Friday. We're going to our favorite getaway, St. Augustine. We Airbnb a house, so it's going to be
in St. Augustine, right? Yeah,
we love it. We love it up there, man. The weather is beautiful. The beach, I've already told you about that. Love the beach. Love the city. Small city. It's Salem-ish, as I say.
Yep.
But yeah, we're heading up there Friday, coming back on Monday. So should be a good time.
You'll have fun for sure up there.
Always, even just chilling, chilling, going to the beach because I get to drive on the beach. Every time I pay that $7, it's only $7 to drive on the beach, right?
Right.
I turn into a kid in like a dune buggy. Like I just love riding. Something about driving on a beach is so cool.
What vehicle do you take on that beach?
Oh, the Lexus, the RX 460. That's a 4-wheel drive.
Okay. It's okay. Yeah. See, the one thing I always worry about with going on the sand, and I did it with an inappropriate vehicle, but still, sand in the transmission. I got it in my old Delta 88 Royale from taking it on Ural Beach down the point. Whole different ball of wax.
Yeah, that's different sand.
Well, first of all, I'm low to the ground.
Yeah.
There's probably 20 kids in the thing.
Yeah.
With a keg in the trunk.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
so anyway.
There are areas that they say beyond the 4x4, beyond this point, somebody always tries it. Always tries it. But let's see, what do we got here? Thank you guys for talking about the topics, which most of us only talk about in private.
You are quite welcome.
There you go. That's what we do.
And
And
88 Stushin.
Stushin.
God,
You know what? That's a Winthrop word to the
that's
core.
gotta be chamois.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about? Oh, don't do that. Don't do
See,
that.
what's
Boys
up,
back
rookie?
there.
What's up, rookie? Oh, you do that. See, I do that. And you hit there. Oh, what are you doing?
Ah!
What are you doing?
I fat fingered it.
Yeah. So let's jump into it. Where do you want to start?
Well, we shouldn't leave.
Do you have an update about the book in the elementary school?
Yeah. Did we not talk? Didn't I not say? I got on the phone again with my buddy Gus. You're getting called out again, Gus. He is. There's nothing I can do. It has to come from him. If the superintendent's going to take any action, she'd have to be directed by the school committee. All we're asking is to put an alternative book next to another book that's another harmless book, in our opinion, in the first grade resource room. He's supposed to remember to get the book from his bookstore, his daughter's
because
bookstore.
the book that you have, one of them took it and
one of the
returned it.
School committee members took it and left it.
This book will never ever make it into that school.
Threw dots at it, whatever they did.
So. Dare you counter a book with a book? That's not how the society runs.
No.
In Massachusetts.
No. I think it's getting it. Well, anyway, I'm trying to keep myself from losing my cool.
Okay, so all right, we covered that. What else you got, buddy?
Well, it's political season's coming. I mean, I know it's only May, June coming up, but papers are getting pulled. We now know that Jim is officially running for precinct 2. We know that Suzanne Swope has pulled her papers for precinct 4, which is Barbara Flockhart. She hasn't submitted signatures yet, but I'm sure if she pulled them this early, she's looking to go. We know by the way, this just in. Two things just in. I sat with John Munson, current precinct 2 counselor, yesterday for a little over an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And I did learn that there is potential that Mrs. Honan will be running for at large again.
Okay, let it happen.
Likely unopposed again. That seems to be. Well, I think 90% since we've gone to this form of government, I want to say 85 to 90% of the elections for all the seats, not for all the seats, 90% of the elections were unopposed, which was why I wanted to me and several others on the ORC wanted to make the changes. Anyway, we do have a challenger. That was one of the pieces of the conversations I wanted to have with John for precinct 2. And we want to give him his due. Kurt Millar has officially pulled papers and wants to come on. So why don't we bring him in out of the green room and announce his candidacy for precinct 2 counselor.
There you go. What's up, Kurt?
What's going on?
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, quick correction. You said Jim is running for precinct 2 right in the beginning there, Todd.
Sorry, Lettieri.
Yeah.
Council president. Sorry. Whoopsie. Yeah. He used to be all those years, right?
Yeah. Precinct 2.
I love when Kurt comes on and he's so comfortable now that he can just correct you.
Yeah.
One of the first things he does.
I think
he's looking for your seat, Todd. I think he's looking to replace you, maybe.
It'll be 2 seats I'll be taking.
It's a lot of seats. Interestingly, precinct 2. So, and Kurt, you'll definitely remember this. That we hotly debated that one of the changes we wanted to make to the council, the charter, the framework of the makeup of the council, and we debated. And one of our reasons that the yay side cited was basically lack of competition, and that 85-90% of our races have run uncontested.
Yep.
Precinct 2 isn't one of them. In fact, Precinct 2 is the most contested counselor seat in our town's little charter history. and you're jumping into those waters again for a second time, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't do so well the first time, but that was,
All right.
first time getting into it, figuring things out. This time
Yeah.
it should be a little bit different.
Absolutely. At least you didn't give up.
No, definitely didn't. I got on some committees and stuck to my word on everything I said that I wouldn't give up. I've dug into things that I felt needed to be looked into a little bit more. It's just that's what I do.
If there's anything you are, Kurt, you're diligent. I'll give you that. You're good at doing research and digging and finding. And we found that out over the last year. Especially when it came to like the water bill over at the rink and
the rink.
I mean, and the budget. You're very good with budgets. You poke some holes in this budget, right?
Yep. Ask some good questions, right?
Yeah, which is what a good town councilor does. So
what I always try and do is come with some information before I ask a question too. I mean, you want to have a good foundation of understanding of what you're asking about before you ask it. It shouldn't be a blind question when you're on the council. If you're speaking to the town manager, you should have some knowledge of bring up like a municipal building, something on the lines of how much is the water bill for the middle school right now. You should have some background to be able to ask that question in it before you ask it. Right. To get an answer, a directed answer to what you need to hear from them. So there's too often there are people sometimes that just like blindly ask a question. Can you give me the answer to this? With no understanding of why you're even truly asking the question. I don't know if you guys have seen that on any of the meetings, but it happens sometimes.
Sure, it happens more than often, more than not.
Yeah, I would say it does. I would say it does.
Yeah,
for sure. People oftentimes, sometimes it almost is akin to. In fact, I think sometimes there's crossover between the person that just asks a question because they want to ask a question, or they just speak for the sake of speaking, not to add any value to the conversation, right? In some cases, virtue signaling too. I put that in that same bucket. They're not adding any value to the conversation.
So, Kurt, when do you plan on start gathering signatures?
Well, I've got 4 so far. I just hit up a neighbor.
Okay.
But this hopefully this week, since the weather's gonna be pretty good. Saturday threw me off with the rain. Planned on going out there and getting it done on Saturday, but
do you have any
dog?
That's all right. I always get flashbacks to Father Walter.
I was just gonna say the Beagles. What kind of dog is that?
My dog is a mixed breed.
I was gonna say that's a mutt bark if I ever heard one.
Yeah, she's a rescue from Puerto Rico. Sweet little dog.
There you go. What's her name?
Shayla.
Shayla. Okay. Who named her?
The nun that rescued her.
Look at this. Jesus.
He's a good Samaritan.
It's not just a dog. Wait, no. This isn't just a dog, right? It's a rescue dog from Puerto Rico that was saved by a nun. Are you kidding me with that? You gotta be making that up, dude. That's
I got pictures.
He's making his sister look like the devil.
How could you not vote for a guy? This is your jump off. This is your jump off point. Everyone loves dogs, right? All right, 80% of the people love dogs, right? Kurt Millar, running for precinct 2 councilor, has a dog that he rescued from Puerto Rico. He got it from a nun that rescued the dog, right? Like, come on, man. How much better can Kurt be? Like, he gets a dog from a nun.
It was interesting when we went to the shelter to see her, and she was the only dog that actually came up to my daughter right away.
Isn't that what they say? Right.
My daughter wanted a Chihuahua when we went there, and I'm like, no. As we're walking around, all the dogs paid really no attention to us, and then she just came right up to the little doorway thing and sniffing and shaking, and I'm like, all right, let's sit down with her.
There you go.
So
I think that's your jump off point. You have a rescue dog that was saved by a nun. Come on, what? That's as pure as it gets.
Well, it's interesting too, because like having served, having run, having worked on multiple campaigns, the common phrase is I don't in Winthrop or local politics. It's not a phrase, but the sentiment is that they don't want to be like a politician. They want to do the right thing. Well, I've known so far one person I've known that has served, besides myself, of course, that has always, whether or not people are going to believe this comment, this one person has always done their level best when they voted on issues to weigh in all the other sides, all of the different angles. I only know one person so far that I've worked with in the town of Winthrop and served with in the town of Winthrop, and that was Jeff Turco that does this. If Kurt Millar were to win, he's that politician. He's the one that everyone claims they want to have, the one that stays out of the politics and just tries to get stuff done. Kurt was in the politics with the ORC and stayed out of the politics in the ORC, right? Because it was a very political divide on the most important issues, at least the ones we thought were most important. And
what's ORC again for the people?
Ordinance Review Committee.
The
for the
5-year one.
Yes.
Yeah. So Kurt, you are that person. I would say you want to win. We know there's one thing that has to be, at least one thing that we've got to do differently this go around. But I don't want to steal your thunder, but I'm eager to hear more about some of the things you're going to do differently. Or if you've even thought about that yet, or kind of where you are in the process. Besides,
I've been plotting it out. My campaign's gonna be run basically the same time as last time. Few minor tweaks to it. I'm not out to bash anybody. I'm not going to talk down to anybody. I'm not going to go have somebody dig into somebody's background, like happened to me when I ran last time.
And who did that to you?
Take a guess.
Bill Schmidt.
Yeah, I believe he was the one that went to town hall to look to see what my voting record was.
So Bill Schmidt, who is backing John Munson.
That's what I was told by a certain person that.
Yeah, so Bill Schmidt
was the one that questioned my voting.
Yeah, so Bill Schmidt is backing John Munson. John Munson supports Bill Schmidt. You put that together, that's not a good picture. I mean, anything that has to do after this episode with Vasily Malius and Bill Schmidt's overreach and his just absolute abuse of power, and John Munson supports him. So that's a plus for you because, see, Bill Schmidt's going to be exposed now. That's it. He's not going to be that little sneak like he was last time and be that little rat that runs around and gets the cheese and brings it back to Munson. Hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. Now you got a good platform, buddy.
I'm not going to I didn't run that way last time and really want to do that.
Leave that to us.
I never talked down to anybody about how they ran or whatever. There was a point where I was considering doing something and then I'm like, you know what? That's not me. I don't want to do that because that's not what it's about. I mean, you don't want to bring someone down and just try and destroy them when I'd rather debate them on what the town is about and what we need to get done for the town.
So let me play the devil's advocate there. You can only take so much. If they see that you're going to run your campaign the way you do, and you have our support. I'm just saying, again, devil's advocate. Sometimes in politics, you got to get dirty. You have to. You have to fight fire with fire. And this is just my opinion. You can't let them roll on you, and then you just go, well, I'm not going to do that because you know what happens? That's how Biden got elected. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's how that happened, amongst other things.
So I honestly think what I'll be bringing to the table is a little bit more information before I make a vote on something.
Yeah.
Not my own personal opinion every single time, which, Todd was kind of talking about. I have friends on all different sides, you name it politically. I mean, and I reach out and I talk to them to see what their view is, what their opinions are. I voted on things on the ORC that, wasn't what I exactly wanted because the feedback that I got was stronger than what I thought was right, personally. Would it always be that way? No, there's sometimes when you're on the council, you have to make tough decisions for the benefit of the town of its entirety. Uh, I look at things like I've dug into is like the ferry. The ferry has always been this little thorn in my side that we never should have gotten. We spent almost $1 million on the thing. It How many times has it not been running? It's starting up, I think, at the end of this month. They're still looking for a captain to run it on weekends and crew. And you know what? I've been saying since the get go, this third time on the ferry, that the town shouldn't be the one running it. Should have never been the town running it.
Where does your opponent stand on that?
I honestly don't know.
So
I don't want to say that I definitely know what he thinks, but there's some favoritism of the ferry that it's a benefit to the town. Yes, we need a ferry. We really do. But it shouldn't be run by the town. It should be part of MBTA, Mass DOT, or something outside of the town running it. Where we got backups.
Aren't they working towards that? I thought we were working.
They have been.
Okay. All right.
They have been. I don't know exactly where that stands right now. But I've been, again, throwing on my side for a few years now. Yeah. I bring it up. I brought it up at the council a few times. Because you also got to think we're paying a paycheck to a town employee to run the ferry.
All right.
Or manage it, not run it. Well, both. But to me, that's all right. Now we're adding to another pension, and is it really value added for the town?
85% benefits we pay for. They pay for 15%. Yeah, it's a nice gig.
Yeah, that needs to be looked at. I mean, financially for our town, you'd want to be a town employee getting that just for the health benefits alone. I mean, that's not realistic. You go to look at any other community around here, they are not paying that.
Well, this is why I scratch my head and I say the town council holds the purse strings. My understanding, by the way, is that doesn't have to be negotiated. Nobody has it in their contracts except maybe one bargaining unit. So why are we not just saying, I'm sorry, but paying 15% of your healthcare is costing the town of Winthrop a lot of money, and it's costing you, the employee, money in your salary. It's just got, and it's not reasonable. It's completely out of alignment with that. So you like to point to these other communities about they got 2%, they got 3%. They get respect, we don't. Okay, well, how much are they paying for their healthcare? You want that too? You want to pay almost 50% up in Lexington because they make a lot of money, but they pay more for their healthcare. Anyway, so
those are all the kind of issues that I'm not afraid to look at and bring to light. And I don't want to go too deep into everything that I'm going to bring out. I want to make sure all my papers are in and everything's good, because no matter what, whether I make it or not, I'm still going to stick with, digging into everything.
So are we going to have a debate? Do you think there'll be a debate?
I would love to have one or three.
Let's have one or three. Yeah. Well, I didn't mention that in my conversation yesterday with John. But I meant to ask him because I meant to ask him about this. He's been somewhat aggressive in the sense that he's now written 2 letters to the editor about his current time on the council. Yep. So I found that interesting. I think maybe he clearly wants to win if he intends on running. So that's a good thing, right? I mean, he's working hard.
So it's good to, I think it's good to put yourself out there and, what you've learned and all that. I am not a look at me kind of person. I'm not. I mean, I do charity work no one knows about because I don't need to be put in a newspaper for it. I do it because it makes me feel good. I don't have an ego that needs to be filled. I would much rather just focus on what needs to get done and not myself. I don't know. I've just always been that way. Don't like being in pictures. I know once you're on a council, you got to be in some pictures.
Oh, you better start getting comfortable with that last week.
Yeah. Bring my dog in a,
There you go. Bring the dog with you.
It's
guaranteed to get votes, man. I'm telling you.
Well, I don't know if she'd actually make it though. She's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point you make about not being a me person, because you know what? First of all, even though one counselor or one school committee member might come up with, a really good idea or a really good ordinance that modernizes the community, it's all of you, because it gets deliberated, debated. You have to kind of get people to vote in your favor, and that can be difficult. So I don't, that's going to be, and by the way, it's also interesting that this me stuff can sometimes, in this forum article that John wrote, just triggers this thought in my head. Sometimes when you talk about what you do in these situations, it can come off like, hey, wait a minute, you're not the only one. Like, he talks about the ORC work in there, and like the reality is the bulk of that work was done by us. Like we did all the heavy lifting. So I find
one thing I want to, one thing I want to say about that.
What's that?
My view on almost everything that was worked on that should have been put out to the people to look at and vote on. What could have been voted and put on a ballot. I strongly feel
was your opponent against that?
Yes.
He was?
He was.
So he was on the ORC, he puts it in there, the paper. I wasn't. No?
He wasn't on, he was on the council has the duty to form the ORC and then has to take up the issue, the proposal.
So what's he taking credit for in his letter to the editor?
These are ideas that are going to come to the voters, that, the council worked hard to bring these ideas to, he gives credit to the ORC, but, it's not something that he even started. It was in motion long before he got on the council, right? I mean, quite frankly, if I'm going to be critical, and sometimes I can be, I've always hated, and Jeff and I have even fought about this. If you had your hand in something like for a nanosecond and you want to start taking partial credit for it, that doesn't sit right with me. If you legitimately help with something, yeah, because you want to get elected again. So I don't know. But
it's more of a we thing than a me thing.
Yeah.
He does it for bullet statements too, so he can put stuff like that in there. Like Julia Pringles Wallace, she has on her resume, somebody actually showed it to me, that she's the chairman of the Winthrop Transportation Committee. Well, there isn't one, but there was one for like a minute, right?
She hasn't taken it off.
No, it's still there. So this is what people like Munson do. He's going to put all that stuff in there. He's knowing that the average voter is going to go, oh, look at that. That's good. Right. So he's just playing the politician there, putting out stuff that he really had nothing to do with creating or advancing or anything like that.
Yeah. So, read the section on the middle school water.
Yeah.
That's in there.
Did you get any mention in that? Did you get any mention in his thing? No.
So John Munson is already taking credit for stuff that he really didn't have anything to do with. He touched it.
Everybody
like saying,
does it.
I won the Super Bowl because I touched the Super Bowl trophy.
Everybody does it. But if you're going to do it, you should at least footnote the guy who kicked it off, which in this case would have been Kurt Millar, in my opinion.
Well, he definitely won't now, because now he's an opponent.
Well, right. But see, it's the community. We should do this in a friendly. I agree with Kurt. We shouldn't be fighting with. May the best man or woman with the best ideas and the best way to present them win. That's how it should work. Not with the most friends and the most politically aligned, because not all this stuff works in Winthrop. That was another thing we talked about, he and I, yesterday, Kurt. And I kind of know where you stand on this, but the whole. This flag policy has already become somewhat of a problem. I mean, it's not a big deal, not a hill we're going to die on, but, they are raising a flag. Tell me how this doesn't make sense, okay? We hear all the time arguments against the Gadsden flag, or we hear people criticize Republican presidents for words they use or don't use and how impactful those are. Well, if words and symbols have meanings, then it is equally true that this new Progress Pride flag which is supported by a section or a sect or a segment of the LGBT community that happens to have within that segment a subsegment of people who think it's okay to sexualize children with children's book hour with trans trans cross dressers and using drugs they use to chemically castrate criminals to control hormones. They think all that stuff's okay for children.
And they're going to fly a flag that
and they're going to fly
represents
that flag. Does that flag not embolden those people? I mean, I said this flat out to Munson in a text last night. I'm like, you really should think about that because, in my opinion, I said it to Jim Lettieri, flying that flag, and then not flying the Gadsden flag, but flying that flag again. How is that not the same exact thing as everything you chirp against? It is the same exact thing, and there's just such an obvious double standard because one feels better than the other.
to a small percentage of people.
So I hope, Kurt, I hope when you get on that maybe you'll lead a charge to take another look at that policy because we're already having stupid debates about it. But I don't worry about just today and tomorrow and me, or the whatever the will of the council is. I worry about even further out. You never know what kind of crazy collection of people is going to be serving on that board and what they might be capable of. And if symbols have meanings, I don't know. You don't want to put the beacon of oppression up there, whichever it might be at that time.
Yeah, we do have to look at. They moved it to the cultural council, the E.B. Newton. They're not doing it on town hall. So I think that is, I don't want to say a win, but it's a positive note. At least, we
got it off the town green. Yeah.
And so they can have it on the cultural council. It's
up for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Look, our battle was this, and Kurt, you're not involved in this. This is me talking to Todd. Our battle was to get it off the town green. We got it off the town green. Don't fly it for a whole month, so they fly it for 2 weeks. We won. I mean, we got what we wanted out of that. Now you can go a step beyond and say, but it's still a government. It's not on the town green. The town green is where you don't want it. That's the way I view this.
It's just a municipal building.
It's just a municipal building, and it's hidden by trees anyways. That makes it.
It's where you drive by.
Good
it's
thing.
It's really not easy.
I asked somebody, and hey, drive by, and they were like, I didn't even see it. I can't even see it. So are they going to complain about that now? Are they going to want trees cut down? So you're going to have the gay pride flag people fighting the tree people because we need that tree trim so people can see our flag. I know I'm making light of it, but I would not put it past them.
Oh.
I would not put it past them. Those trees need to be trimmed.
To be quite frank with you, I don't think there was a big coalition of people from the progressive left. I think it was maybe Lee Foley reaching out to Steve Ruggiero, and he wrote the proclamation. I'm betting you hundreds of dollars that's the only proclamation we're going to see in 2023. The only one.
And you know what? Let them go down there on June 1st and gather and then go get a freaking clam plate at Nick's.
No, they're going. Lydia's going to be sponsoring another party down at the Ingleside Park.
There you go. Have some dogs and burgers. Right? Sure, have fun. Who cares? It's not on the town green.
Kurt, so this is a big thing going on right now, and Scott alluded to it earlier with regard to Bill Schmidt's behavior on the Board of Health, his personal vendetta against
blatant personal vendetta.
Very blatant personal vendetta against Vasily. The way he treated you and quite frankly Lane, but Lane was just so good and so patient that he very quickly can come down off of his can't wait to talk over you stance because she's really patient. But he wasn't nice to anybody.
No.
The public meeting is to air stuff in the public for the public to see. This man is on a board that has a lot of power. My question to you is this not worth bringing up for a vote, whether you have the votes or not, so that you can get it on the record who voted to keep Bill Schmidt? Because right now, that's what everyone's doing. They're counting votes. And I was told yesterday in my conversation with the current precinct 2 counselor, it's never going to happen. They're never going to remove them.
I'm sorry, Kurt. Let me. They can count votes. We need an official vote. That's what we want. If they're doing an internal vote count and they're not letting something go out to the public, and they're just saying within themselves, we know it's not going to go anywhere, so don't even put it to vote, Jim, because that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. They're counting within themselves, and they're not like, don't even bother putting it out there. Well, it should be put out there for the public to see.
Go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah. So I'll almost guarantee they haven't met in like little meetings together, because that's not allowed to happen.
No, they can't do that.
They can talk on the phone.
They can be one-on-one discussions.
Yep.
You know what they do.
My thing with Bill is I'll try and be a little nice with this, because I am frustrated with him and what he's done, and seeing the videos of how he spoke with another member about, looking good on TV and all that kind of stuff, which is hugely during a meeting, is inappropriate. It's so inappropriate to do. The way he conducts his meetings is he dictates all the work to everybody else except for himself for the most part. The way he talks to the other members, it bothers me. It really bothers me. I can handle him talking the way he did to me and all that. That's not a big deal. My thing that I have the biggest issue with is that he thinks he's the end all be all, and he's not.
And he's been wrong. He's been incomplete.
There is checks and balances in everything. So do I think it should be brought to the council to have a discussion and get it on an agenda for a topic? I do. I really do. I don't think it's right the way he's conducted his meetings and the way he talks to people. That's not how a chair should be. It really should not be.
So, Kurt, if someone makes an argument to you that we're going to change the policy for keeping of chickens because we have worries about a public health, a serious worry, they're making the statement that their purview over those chickens is due to a public health concern, right?
Yes.
When the chairman of the BOH makes that very statement, then in the same meeting suggests they don't have that same control over dogs, full stop. That's when you know you have a complete buffoon sitting in the chairman's seat of the most powerful unelected board in any municipality in the state of Massachusetts.
So I look at simple things. The way the flow of the conversation went. I kind of get where his point was going after I thought about it a little bit more, that, yeah, they really don't have any regulations in place for them to really go by for dogs with the boot, right?
But all they would have
There's nothing there, but they can make one.
Yeah, they could put it right under the keeping of chickens one. They keep. Yep.
There's an ordinance out there for dogs that you're supposed to pick up their poop and
But they pick and choose what they want to do. They pick and choose.
Another thing that gets me is that with this whole chicken thing that gets me is that it was straight up said that when we raised some questions, it was, we don't have inspectional services that can get this stuff done. Well, it's pretty amazing. All of a sudden, Vasily gets a ticket from the chair of the Board of Health that shouldn't even have been written. And now they're relying on the inspectional services to go now and inspect it.
They want them to. They're like, we don't have enough people. Bill the Shill Schmidt said that I don't know how many times. We don't have enough people. But right away, when his ticket gets doused in gasoline and he's found out that he can't write it, which showed his true colors about this whole thing, his vindictiveness, now he's demanding that they write a citation. Right.
And that's what kind of gets me is that he said it multiple times. Inspectional service, they don't have the people to be able to do this stuff. Well, it's amazing that now he's going to force them to go and do it. Right.
And John Munson backs this guy. Your opponent backs this guy. Thinks he's doing a great job. 100%. He's behind Bill the Shill. He'll do, hey, what do you need, Bill? Oh, you want to be, yeah, sure, I got your back. And he's he's a town councilor. That's not the person I want.
Bill actually is a very intelligent man. He really
Doesn't matter. I mean, I'm intelligent too. So are you. So's Todd.
So
I mean, book smarts doesn't make you a nice guy.
To touch on the chicken stuff, no one on that Board of Health has the experience to actually set a regulation in place as to what it should be, because they did not dig deep enough to understand what the true sicknesses are and how people will get sick from them. They reached out to a couple people. They read some of the CDC stuff because, they actually, all they do is promote sickness and talk about sickness. If you break it down, and we brought information with us to the Board of Health about it, and, you have a better chance of getting sick from the same thing they were saying, oh, you can't have the chickens in the front yard like that because a pregnant woman walking by could die from it. You go do your own landscaping or yard work or anything, you have the same, if not more, ability to get that sickness. So it's not just chickens. So
they didn't want to hear any
on
of
that again.
Though. They didn't want to hear any of that. Bill didn't want to hear any of that. You're not going to tell him at his meeting with his two secretaries under him that he's wrong. He's not going to listen to that. Common sense. Bill Schmidt might be intelligent, but he lacks common sense. He lacks couth. He lacks any type of respect for anybody else. That's the bottom line with him. And that's not a nice person. So I know plenty of intelligent people that are nice people,
So yes, I would try and find out how I could bring it up so it would be put on an agenda for a topic. I would ask. Now, the president has the right to say yay or nay right now, which was one thing that I brought up on ORC was, how can we make it so that everybody has the ability to get something on the agenda?
Yeah.
Remember when I brought that up, Todd?
Yeah. And
even if it's a point of view that I don't like, I think everybody should have the right to be able to bring it up and say, can we get this put on the agenda to talk about it?
I'm of two
and not be censored.
I'm of two minds of that, not for censoring purposes, but just to keep the meeting moving. I'm standing up because my back hurts.
And then you're raising your desk?
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I have one of those too. Yeah.
So I'm of two minds about that, but I do get the sentiment, and I lean more towards your worldview on that, Kurt, because you don't want to censor people. I mean, you got to love free speech. If you love free speech, you got to tolerate shitty speech. Oops. But you just do. It's just kind of the way it works.
Yeah. And I think you guys have also seen, and I'm not afraid to speak up on things. I'm not. I might go a different route about how I bring it out. I don't come out harsh and, just go after people at all. I want to hear what they say. It's what I do all day long at work. I got to listen to people, let them voice how they're feeling, and then try and identify how we can move forward and correct things, change things to make it work for us. That's what I do all day long.
Oh.
Not only that, I also have a $6.8 million budget that I manage.
Well, this makes a great case study, Kurt, right? Because I'll say this, the reason that this is probably never going to make the light of day is all politics, right? And you've got a board that's heavily divided, not in the favor of the council president. So the council president believes it's in his best interest, if he wants to get other things on his agenda done, to play nice with this in the sandbox, negotiating from a position of weakness, as far as I'm concerned. His priority should be in a different way, but that's not the point. We've got a man on here in this position that has a lot of power, that does not behave well and has not represented the town well, and there's rumblings behind his back. I also have it on good authority that he's really frustrated because he's been asking inspectional services to, now this has not been confirmed, but my understanding is, and I'm hoping to get some confirmation on that, but that he's asking the inspectional services to deliver the citation, and they don't want to do it. They're referring him to the manager.
There
So
you
for
go.
me, anybody who had that previous permit should be grandfathered in.
Absolutely.
And that should be
That's
the
the
push
way
for
to
it.
end this. End it that way. Everybody wins. Everyone walks away with a little bit. See, in negotiations, I learned this again. I was in some high-level negotiations with the National Treasury Employees Union, with headquarters in D.C. over bargaining unit. You know, I was bargaining unit, their management. And the key to negotiations is to always give somebody an out. Don't put somebody in a true corner where they're trapped and they have nothing else to do but to lash out, right?
That's right.
All he had to say, all they had to do to fix this, whether the town manager, the town council president, and Schmidt and Vasily got together and just said, listen, how's this? Vasily, you're grandfathered in, all right? Bill, you get your way from that point on. Vasily walks away happy. Bill walks away with his head up. He could say, well, okay, it was this, but I still got my way, right? Town council president, town manager, let's move on. No.
Yeah.
They dropped the ball big time on this. Although it's not too late, but maybe it is.
Well, it's
Maybe
never
it
too
is.
late because any ordinance regulation can be changed at any time.
All they have to say is grandfather this in, let him move on. It's one house in Winthrop. One house in Winthrop.
And
Think
it's
of
one
that.
of-
How many houses are in Winthrop?
Oh my
8,000,
Yeah, at least.
right? One house. Grandfather it in. Move on, town of Winthrop. But no, they dropped the ball severely on this. Negotiating skills are lacking big time in that place, man.
Yeah. So I'll say it again. I am a strong believer that, anybody with the original permit should be grandfathered in.
Yes.
There shouldn't be a debate over it. Even if it's the front side yard, again, like I read, it's not the Board of Health that determines what is a front and side yard on your plot of land.
Where the mailbox is doesn't matter.
That would be zoning, building. Yeah. They're the ones who determine it, not the Board of Health.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But,
that's the point right there, man. That's the point.
Yeah. So I think, going forward with more of the, as we move forward with the running and, wanting to debate, I have some things I would like to bring up during a debate, town-wise, not personally, on ensuring, where John might stand on things. I'll ask some pretty interesting questions. I think you'll see.
I guarantee he doesn't debate you.
Budgeting. I think I will have that end of things to really bring to light, and with a bunch of questions. We can go back and forth. The thing I think I have a downfall here, which I'm going to have to try and work on, is I don't have, a private hall to use for all my events.
Private hall that's actually not supposed to be used for political purposes, by the way. The Oddfellows. It's not supposed to be used for any type of political events, but Munson, he uses it. He uses it.
He rents a place there to be there. So I think that will be harder for me to really, get those kind of things going that way. Last time I did it down at Blackstrap, it worked out well, had people come. I just, I don't want to say that'll be a huge hindrance because I know I'll be reaching out, asking for like coffee hours. I went down Ingleside Park last time, and, the more I get the word out, the earlier. Last time I did it, got in kind of late too.
Yeah.
This time I day of, I pulled the papers, so I'm already starting to roll.
There you go. Set up your plan, right? Set up your schedule. Get out there. Let us know. We'll get it out there. This platform didn't exist last time, or it was just on its early stages. Me and Todd were still trying to figure this stuff out.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid. If people start asking me when I'm out and about, I talk to people about things, how I feel, the way I see things, and I will sit there and listen to what they think too.
Was it 2020 you ran? Or was it before that?
2020.
It was 2020.
Yeah, because we're coming up on 4 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Todd,
yeah.
when did we start this? 2022?
After, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when was
It was
the
2 years ago, right?
the last election? Was 2 years ago. It was before the last election.
Yeah. We're on episode 81 now, so break that down.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how I break down my little barrier on the whole look at me and what I do and put it in the paper often.
Just do it.
That's hard for me to do.
It's better.
But you can't,
honest
Kurt, listen, you need a campaign manager, buddy. You need
So
somebody that's going to
I've
motivate
decided
you.
I'm not going to go the route of a campaign manager. I'm not going to go that route this time.
I'm actually going to people to do this shit for you.
I have people who have agreed to help in different scenarios.
All right.
So I think the only thing that, I'll get my little team together, but I think it'd be better not to have the campaign manager and actually accept the help of other people to get.
Oh, you have no choice.
Done. So
I'm telling you that you have no choice in that. You're gonna take the help.
Oh yeah.
you're like one of those dudes like my father's 89, right? And he finally decides to wear a Med Express thing or the help I fallen I can't get up thing around his neck. You got to give in, Kurt. You got to get the people around you. You got to run a real campaign, and you got to have a good strategy, which you will. You will. You got to kind of come out of your shell, right? We're going to get you. You got this platform anytime you want. Just let us know, and we'll get you in there, buddy.
Well, I will be going around, a few days this week, just, hitting up some of the side roads around here where I live.
Todd's he's
knocking the doors.
Doing a mime. Yep, he's doing his best
knocking on his door.
Right.
Honestly, that's it sounds like the hardest thing to do, but the reality is like long time ago, when I was learning how to sell stuff, it's hard to call someone ice cold, right? But if you kind of interrupt the pattern of what they're used to, they tend to respond. So what I always do is say, hey, I know you weren't expecting me to knock on your door today. I'm sorry to bother you. Did you have a quick minute? I'm running for precinct 2 council, and I wanted to see if you might have a quick minute. It softens everything, and all of a sudden, if they say yes, now in your subconscious, you're not afraid to ask tougher questions. They gave you permission.
Todd's on your team already. See?
So I suggest practicing
it's like a double-edged sword.
Banging on doors.
Right.
When they kick you out, say you got an easy, okay, can I come back, or is it actually should I take you off my list?
Yeah. I've already had offers to have coffee hours. So
there you go.
It's a good start.
And I haven't even really started knocking on doors. So
you're at your best, I think, when you're one-on-one with people, but it's hard to cover a lot of ground. But that's how you have to. So coffee hours are a good intimate situations, I think, are good for you personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope you take advantage of them.
And get your signs up. Get your signs that are legal size, not like Phil, but oversized.
Those are illegal now. Those are
illegal because our rule is unconstitutional. You can't suppress free speech.
So what? You can get a giant sign.
You're supposed to be able to put whatever the fuck you want up, really.
Wow, they have fun too.
Sirens.
Damn, Todd. Got a little me in you.
Damn, it's late.
Got a little me in you.
I'm trying to lose it.
So what? The signs? Now I'm confused. They can be big or they can't be.
They can be.
Can be.
Oh, they can be. So you can put a billboard up.
You could.
Oh, all right.
Well, the only issue with the billboard, I think, right, is building code variance type stuff, right?
I mean, we're not legitimately putting up a real billboard, but
right.
You know,
put big signs with lights on them and woo.
Get those signs, get them out there. Gotta get an eye catcher. Get one of those signs that catches the eye, buddy.
He should put a sign with circus characters on the top, and when you drive by, you hear you're going to join the circus. I'm joining the circus. That is the Winthrop Town Council.
So it's a little bit of a secret, but wait till you see what happens on the Horribles Parade this year.
Oh, geez.
I think it's going to be funny, I think.
Right around the corner.
Yeah, it's not that far away.
Right around the corner.
Can we know who's in your float?
Grew up in Winthrop my whole life, never went to the Horribles Parade.
I couldn't wake up in time.
It's
That's
entertaining.
just that's for you people down
That's
the
because
point.
you're on the Euro
I
Beach
was
in
up
your
the
car with a
Highlands.
keg.
I was up the Highlands. Yeah, yeah. I'm not passed up.
A few times, once or twice.
All right, Kurt, you got anything in closing?
No, that's about it. I mean, I'll be hitting the pavement around precinct 2. I'm same thing. Someone comes knocking on my door. I've never seen the face before. I'm like, who's that? Look at my ring. Maybe I won't answer. But if you take a second and you see my face here, answer the door. I'm willing to talk to you, and just going around for signatures right now.
There you go. We
So,
get it. We'll get it up there. See, there you go. Big political
and you
smile.
got a smile too. I do need to get a better headshot than what's on my Facebook committee to let Kurt Millar page.
Well, there you go. You got to start all
that was
that.
a quick one.
Build it up. Yep.
Yeah,
So I appreciate the time as usual.
Yeah,
absolutely, buddy. Absolutely.
Feel free to put your page out on Winthrop Votes too. Don't link people whenever it's ready. Use it as a billboard.
All righty.
All right, bud.
Thank you,
Kurt. Thank you, my friend.
All right. Have a good night.
All right, guys.
I mean, he is past running for the seat. He is the model candidate for people who are looking for that person who will move away from the ideological lines. He'll step outside of his own skin really well, and he'll do the extra research. I mean, no one ever gets it right 100% of the time, but he's as close as anybody else is.
Look at Kurt he's level-headed. He's intelligent. Like I said, I wasn't joking when he said, "Oh, Bill's a toe." Well, Kurt's an intelligent guy himself. He runs a $6.5 million budget. Okay, you can't be a dummy and do that. Any dummy can sit on the head of the Board of Health. You don't have to be a genius to do that. Like Bill Schmidt, who is supported by John Munson.
The only thing I'm gonna say about Joe Aiello, and he is
where
working.
Did he come from?
He's working hard. He is working hard, but my assessment of what he's actually trying to do is not really necessarily make things better. He's just
Joe Aiello.
Yeah, he's the precinct counselor on the. Didn't you just mention? Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over a part. See,
you are getting tired. Yeah.
I am, because we were talking. I was thinking it in my brain. Joe Aiello is another person that they talk about as really smart, right?
Yeah,
he's a very smart guy.
Yeah,
he's
you
a
might
well-educated guy.
Yeah.
Long story short, because I blew the intro. Wow, I better get to bed early tonight.
We're getting you off soon, buddy.
Long story short, this guy, when I think about him, I mean, this guy was high up in the T, and some people slap me on the hand for thinking this way, and others say, when you're that high up in the T, you're in the know. The T is a very corrupt organization. There's absolutely no question about it.
Always has been.
It always has been, and people at the highest levels know it, and they don't do anything to stop it.
Wow.
So why aren't you guilty by association there?
Well, sometimes the machine is too powerful.
You're still guilty by association, period.
So
what the problem is because so many families are fed, so many middle-class families are fed off of T salaries that even though they know it's a corrupt organization, they don't want to rock the boat either.
Well, you get people that are supported by democratic laws of the welfare and EBT cards and whatever they call them, mass health. Well, they're going to keep voting in Democrats because they're the ones that give them the free stuff, right? So people are naturally going to do that. That's how it works. That's why you get the neighborhood, just say the North End, when the Angelos were running it, they knew they were corrupt, but the Angelos took care of the people in there. The place was safe, So that's always been around, always will be. But anyways, listen, my friend, take us out. Take us out.
Yeah. So first of all, like I said, can you do me a favor? When I said this last week, I want to make sure that oh boy, where did it? Bear with me one second.
Upcoming town meetings.
Yes, I want to share my screen. There's a couple that I want to get out there. So we're already past the 23rd. That's today. But Finance Commission's always a good take. That's a lot of this discussion. We're in budget season, so you can get some details there. Board of Appeals is always a big one too. Zoning, variances, and the like. So those are two good meetings if you're interested in paying attention and finding out what's going on in the town. And of course, you go to the main homepage, you just scroll down to calendar, and if you want to see the events of the town upcoming for the month, previous months, you can get direct links here to agendas and minutes too if they upload them. That's a whole other issue. All politics starts and stops at the local level, peeps. This is where all your money really goes. Believe it or not, it's where it's all decided. I know it's hard to see, but we ask you to get involved, and if you like it, share it. If you don't like it, thank you anyway.
Are you taking my line?
No, I didn't take your line.
You took my line.
No, you said
you just
something
reworded
else.
it.
No, please.
I said if you like it, share it. If you don't, well, thanks for listening this long.
It's long.
That's what
Yeah,
I said. You just paraphrased me.
But I always say,
does that make sense?
I'm gonna kill you. We're fighting on air.
You just stole my outro. I don't even know what to say.
No,
you know what I always say. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If it wasn't, you are the engine that runs this machine. If it wasn't for you, me and Todd would really be in an argument right now.
That's a new one. Wow, on the fly. That's good.
I like that at the end of the show, putting up the meetings. We're gonna keep. That's a good one. That's a good.
We got to keep that.
Good idea. Good idea. And
by the way,
we're gonna start. Go on.
Quick one. I was thinking about a community segment, if you will, people in the community segment.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it offline, but yeah,
if they want to come on,
yeah,
you know. Hey, is Winthrop doing anything for Memorial Day? Do they have a ceremony?
They have a parade every other year, I believe.
Every other year?
Yeah, and I think this is the on year. I think.
Okay,
so
that's good.
Yeah,
good.
It'll be coupled. The little leaguers will be what we usually walk in it too.
Go. If you live in Winthrop, go visit some of those statues that no one pays any attention to. They are meaningful, and this is what Memorial Day is all about. Is that what those men and women did, and dogs and mules and the animals that's the beasts of burden.
That's it
during wartime. Go just stop, look at them, pay attention to them at least for one day. I know everyone's busy in the hustle and bustle, and you see the guy, you know, with the funny hat and the gun over his shoulder crossing the police station. Does anyone really know what that? I mean, if you asked 10 people in Winthrop randomly, would they know what that statue is?
I don't.
Spanish-American War. Would they know that on the plaque they spelled Puerto Rico Porta?
I didn't know that.
R-I-C-O. See,
Puerto Rico. Look at that.
You got to pay attention to those.
Gotta look a little closer.
You have to. I mean, that's Winthrop. That's something that men and women of Winthrop are being represented in those statues. But we took them for granted. You know, I always take a little time to see them when I'm there. And that's how I noticed that misspelling, you know, and that's what Memorial Day is all about. I'm a veteran. Don't thank veterans on Memorial Day. That's for Veterans Day. Memorial Day is to pay homage to the men and women who died serving this country.
That's it.
And Winthrop is a nice town, and every other year, if that's a budget thing, then that's fine. At least they're doing something. And if they have a parade, go to it. Support it. What else was I going to say? Okay. Anyway. Oh, Tuesday nights. We're going to start doing this on Tuesday nights.
Tuesday nights. Yep.
Yeah. Tuesday nights in the summer, and maybe we'll continue it at the end of the summer when it starts getting winding up to election season. We're going to do what we did a couple years ago, and we're going to do two shows a week probably, because we're going to get as many people that want to come on, and it's only going to benefit you, the viewer. Because it's not a podcast, so there's no listeners. Well, unless you're listening on YouTube. Anyways, Todd wants to go to bed, so I'm done talking.
I'm sleeping standing up. So
you are. All right, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday night at 8:00.
Peace out, girl.